Answer on this one should be 4 square root of 5. The answer on this one is square root of 16 square root of 3, and it breaks up as 4 square root of 3. Now this one breaks up as square root of 4 square root of 6, which is 2 square root of 6. This one breaks up as the square root of 4 and the square root of 15, and it should be 2 square root of 15. "25 is a perfect square, so the square root of 25 is 5. That's just 4 times 5, which is 20. Pick a number from 1 to 20. The winning numbers today for the first lottery are 5, 7, 13, 18, and 20. Today's objective is to simplify radical expressions. There is a test tomorrow. It will have 20 multiple choice questions on it and 5 extra credit multiple choice questions. Flashcard, say the answer when you know it. 10, 9, 7, 40, 18. 100 is right. 400 is a perfect square and its square root is 20. 30. 2 square root of 2. 2 square root of 3. 3 square root of 2. 4 square root of 3. 2 square root of 15. 4 square root of 5. 8.
10 square root.
Ten square root of 10 is right. Here's example 1. You have 3 square root of 2 on top and 4 square root of 3 on the bottom. Nothing simplifies. So you have to force it by multiplying the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. So on the top you would have 3 square root of 6, and on the bottom 4 times 3. And that would be 3 square root of 6 over 12. What simplifies?
3 and 12.
3 and 12 to what?
1 over 4.
1 over 4. Do we write the 1?
No.
Square root of 6 over 4 is the answer. Example 2. This one is 16 square root of 12 over 10 square root of 8. What is the highest number that comes out of both of those?
4.
On 16 and 10 I'm talking about. 2. See, I can reduce 16 over 10 by cutting them both in half to get 8 and 5. Now what can I reduce the square roots by?
4.
4. Is that what we want to do?
No.
You can do it and still get the right answer. How could I do it easier?
2 divided by 2.
Divide by 2, and why is that? Why would I want to divide by 2?
Because you get the answer sooner.
Because you'll have to do extra steps.
You get the answer sooner, and what helps us to get the answer sooner? What would be the purpose of dividing by the square root of 2? To get what?
6 over 4.
6 over 4, and what's 4?
A square, a perfect square.
Perfect square, right. So cancel these out by halves and get square root of 6 over square root of 4. Because the square root of 4 is perfect, that would give us a 2. And we no longer have a square root on the bottom. That's why we're doing this to begin with. So just multiply 5 by 2 to get 10. And then simplify 8 over 10 to what?
4 over 5.
4 over 5. And we can't simplify anymore. This is the same problem as the last example, except we're going to do it without...
10, 8.
Oh yeah, it was 10-8. I wrote down 10-10. Yeah, we're going to do it without reducing only halfway. We're still going to do 16 over 10 is 8 over 5, but now we're dividing these by 4 to get square root of 3. And I wrote 10 again. It should be 8. Divide this by 4 to get 3, and this one by 4 to get 2. So multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 2 to get 8 square root of 6 over 5 times 2, which is 8 square root of 6 over 10, and we reduce down to get the same answer as we did before, 4 square root of 6 over 5.
Shut the door behind you.
For the practice problem, you multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 10. On the top, you get the 4 square root of 30, and on the bottom, you get 5 times 10. 5 times 10 is 50. And we'll reduce that with the 4 to get 2 square root of 30 over 25. Answer on the first one should be not the square root of 12, but just 12, and the answer on this one is 8. This gives you 36, or at least the square root of 36, and this does too. When you multiply them together, it's 36. Practice number 2. Now on this one you have to reduce first, so 8 goes into this twice and into this 3 times. You can divide by 2 here to get square root of 3, and by 2 there to get square root of 4. Now on the top that would give you 2 times 2, which would reduce to being 4. But you're not finished.
What?
You can't have a square root on the bottom.
You never told us that.
So you have to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3 to get 4 square root of 3 over 9. On this bonus, these two give you the square root of 40, and these two do as well. So the answer is 40. Here's another bonus. This one will give you the square root of 60, and this one does too. So the answer is 60. How many times have we had this one today?
3 times. 3 times.
That's the first time I've seen it.
4 square root of 5. How many times have we seen this one today?
2 times.
4 square root of 3.
2.
This one breaks up as the square root of 100, square root of 5, which is 10 square root of 5. This one is the square root of 100, square root of 6, so that's 10 square root of 6. I'll do it the way you did it. You broke it up as the square root of 100, square root of 8, which is 10 square root of 8. That's right, but you're not simplifying it completely. Remember that 8 is 2 square root of 2. So the final answer is 20 square root of 2. What is the highest perfect square that could go into 800? It's 400. Yes, 400 is a perfect square. The mid-class lottery. Pick a number from 1 to 10. The winning numbers for the mid-class lottery are 3, 6, and 10. Here is example 3. In some of the problems we did earlier in the week, you had to do the following. For example, if you had 3 plus the square root of 2 on the bottom of a fraction, you had to multiply by what?
2 square root of 2, or 3 plus square root of 2.
3
Minus.
minus the square root of 2. So in other words, you had to create a difference of 2 squares. So this is something that has to be practiced. If you have 2 quantities that are the same, except the difference is the signs, everything else is the same, then you can multiply it quickly by doing this. Square the 3 to get 9. Always use a minus sign. Square the square root of 2 to get 2. And the answer is 7. Here's example 4. Let's say I have another factored version of the difference of 2 squares. And it turns out to be 3 plus 2 square root of 3 and 3 minus 2 square root of 3. Same quantity except the sign is different. You still do it the same way. 3 squared is 9. What's the sign? Minus.
Always.
And I have to square this. What's 2 squared?
4.
4. And what's this squared?
3.
4 times 3.
12.
The answer is
Negative 3.
-3. Here's another example. This one is 8 plus 4 square root of 5. And this one is 8 minus 4 square root of 5. This is a factored version of a difference of 2 squares. Square the 8 to get 64. Put a minus sign in the middle. And square this. 4 squared is 16. This squared is 5. 16 times 5 is 80. And when I subtract, I get -16. Try this one. Everybody had the right answer to this, but it's 6 squared is 36, and this squared is 25. So the answer would come out, or not 25. It's just 5. So the answer is 31. Ten squared is 100, and this squared is 10. So the answer should be 90. Answer is 30. It's a perfect square. Answer is 25.
Put a dirty tissue in.
Answer on this one is 10 square root of 30. I think I said 30. It's supposed to be 10 square root of 3. There we go.